Yeah.
Well, I've loved getting to know you and spend a little time with you just to kind of catch up on what's going on in your life. And I know when you came on Sunday, you just came down and said, "Hey, this is what I want to be a part of, and I want to be baptized. Whatever I need to do, I just want to take the next step." Tell me a little bit about where did you start from, like in this whole discovery process of knowing who Christ is and all that. What was your life like before Christ? What would you want us to know about that?
Growing up, I was introduced to Christ, but never was really a part of it. It was kind of.
So you kind of went to church and knew of him.
I went to church. I knew of him, but there was no personal connection to God or to Christ or any of His power. And
how did that make church seem to you? I mean,
routine. It was just as routine as going to kindergarten and first grade, and it wasn't. There was no involvement with it. There was no connection to it. It was just show up and listen to what someone had to tell me, and that was when I was younger. As I got older, there was complete separation from God. I grew up in Houston, and at a very young age got involved with drugs and alcohol and fighting, and in a Christ-centered life there's not room for any of that, and so I chose to separate completely.
So no remorse about change, just really...
No, absolutely. There was no conscience. There was no conscious contact with anything other than money and women and drugs and alcohol. That was it. That was everything.
Where was the turning point? I mean, where did you get to the place where you go, okay, this is not getting it anymore?
I was in New York once again with another treatment, another parents desperately trying to find help for me, and mom's convinced she's trying to save my life. I'm convinced that they're just trying to ruin my fun. And God's plan, hit smack dab with my will. I sat in my room, and after just a week of just complete misery, as close to hell as I thought I could get without, being in hell, and I wanted nothing to do with anyone around me. I had great people around me. I wanted what they had, but I didn't want to do what they said they had to do to get it. The hard work, the giving of themselves to God, and so I didn't, listen to it. But one night, when everyone just kind of knew I was just sick and tired of living the way I was living, a young man sat down with me, and he started talking to me, and as he's talking and as I'm consciously trying to show this guy that I don't care what he's saying, just rolling my eyes and saying whatever, he starts crying, and I'm still not a very emotional guy, but to see someone else literally just pouring themselves out to me blew my mind. And I asked him, I said, "Why are you crying?" Almost condemning, tears, what is this? Why are you crying? And he looks at me, he says, "John, I'm crying because it was a year ago today that I decided to turn my will over to God, and nothing has been the same." And it blew me away. I just couldn't understand. First, I couldn't believe him. I just could not understand that this was the truth. But for some reason, on that night, it made sense. And I left the room thinking only one thing, and that's that I wanted what he had. And I crawled into bed that night, convinced that I was going to try to find it. And I sat up. I couldn't go to sleep. My mind was too full of questions and longing and wanting to know what the truth was about God and the truth was about salvation. And so I said probably the first earnest prayer of my life. And it wasn't polite and it wasn't humble, but it's what brought about that change. I asked to a God that I didn't know. I didn't know if it was Christ. I didn't know if it was this, the galaxy. I had no idea. I just wanted something that was going to help me be better. And my first prayer was basically, if you're real, and whoever you are, whatever you are, help me. And it came instantly.
Wow.
I called out to the name of Christ. And I called out to the name of Christ, and I was completely washed. I was completely convicted, completely worthless, completely hopeless, but saved at the exact same time. I knew that there was salvation for everyone, including myself. And if you knew me on April 14th of 2006, and then just had re-met me on April 16th of 2006, you would not have known I was the same person.
Two different people.
Outside of my own control, I became a completely different person. Motives became different. Desires to live were renewed. The purpose of my existence became not what I could get, but what I could give. And since then, as I've grown closer to Christ and as I've tried to stick close to what He has in store for me, I can say I haven't gone back to wanting or thinking about being what I was before.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. So, exciting. Thanks for sharing that.
Thank you.